Welcome. Thanks for joining me. Welcome to this energy update and reading for the week of March 8th, 2020. My name is Ona. My channel is Art of Awakening and helping you find your divine genius zone. All right, so we've got an exciting week here. There's been interesting things happening. I think we're all aware in terms of what's going on in the world. And I think this week's reading is kind of going to speak to that. So rather than doing my typical card reading, what I did today is I just kind of tuned in to ask what animal wanted to come forward and see what they had to say. So it's very similar to how I sometimes work with people one-on-one. And when I do work with people, I typically will call out, or I'll ask for a crystal to come forward. I have a lot of crystals here, and there will always be one or two or three that come forward for the particular person. For the collective this week, the crystal is this gray banded jasper, and so I'll get into the significance of that in a bit. So I did this beforehand because sometimes it can take a little time, but the animal that came forward, this is the image that I saw, was this little river otter. Okay, and so when I asked River Otter what his message was for the collective, he talked about looking at where the sun is shining on the snow, and especially this time of year, we're kind of getting into spring. Where the sun is shining is where it makes that snow slick, right? And we all know that otters love to slide down. For them, it's an efficiency thing, right? It's being efficient and being able to get there faster, although it's also fun and playful, okay? So he's really showing me this efficiency, and the idea is, when I felt deeper into it, it's a lot of it is about being called into our divine purpose, which is something that I'm feeling strongly for the awakened collective, those of us who've been on the awakening path. Right now, as we're just kind of turning the corner on the spring season, or at least in North America, it's spring, which is a real season of increasing power. And it's where a lot of changes can happen very fast. It can be kind of a tumultuous time, right? And we're really heading into that as we start. This will be the last full moon of the quote-unquote, the winter season. And with this full moon, it's a full moon in Virgo this time, we're going to be heading into that solstice, or the equinox season, right? So seeing some of these shakeups happen, if you've been following me, you probably heard me say I'm seeing kind of shakeups ahead for 2020. The coronavirus, we're starting to see that, and the encouragement really around that. Here's what this kind of grounding is, right? It's jaspers are very, very grounded stone, and what I'm being really asked to relay is that it's going to be more and more important for those of us who are in this more awakened state, because this awakened state, it doesn't necessarily mean just because you're becoming more awakened and aware that's more powerful energy that you're holding space for. And so it's going to become more and more important for us to really ground and center, to be able to anchor the light energy in, okay? Because just because you're awakened doesn't mean that you're working from light. So it's going to be really, really important to be using a lot of discernment. And I think that's where Otter is telling us to look for the light, okay? Look for these areas of light, because that's going to help you slide easily and quickly into your purpose, okay? We're all being asked to step forward into our purpose in a much bigger way right now, because the collective there's a lot of the collective starting to waken up, and there's just all this stuff that's poised to happen, on the planet itself, right? As the planet herself is waking up. And so it is going to create these changes, right? We are moving into a period of greater light, right? So which is what the spring season is, but I'm thinking even in the bigger picture, we're moving into more light on the planet. And so this is this huge process of awakening. And the challenge is to hold that light, to be anchors for the light, right? To ground that light into the earth in a way that hasn't happened for a long, long, long time. It is challenging. So if any of us, like all of us, are going through challenging times, right? And it can be a fun time, it can be an exciting time, it can be challenging, all of the above. This is that spring energy, right? And I'm kind of feeling like we're moving into sort of a springtime energy probably for the next couple decades, right? This kind of ascending, kind of thing. So it can be tumultuous. If you think of when the ice melts in the spring, you can get these, sudden falls of ice from roofs. You can get the rivers running really fast, can wash things away. There can be spring storms, stuff like that. Okay, so the more we can breathe into it, anchor and ground. For instance, this whole coronavirus thing, I'm not going to kind of share whether or not I think, because I'm just sort of watching it happen, right? So whether it really is an emergency or not, there is going to be an attempt at some level for a lot of fear mongering around it. Okay, so one of the things we can do right now through it, no matter what you decide to do, is to stay calm, stay centered, ground that light energy in. Okay, stay in a positive space, right? Because the more we buy into these disaster mentalities, when you start to awaken, when you're in that awakened kind of consciousness, you, like I said, you can hold that awakened consciousness and be fueling the light or the dark, either way, right? Whatever you do, you're going to be putting more power into it when you have that awakening happening, right? So it's up to us to choose the light. That's what Otter is saying, right? Choose, because when we choose the more light path, what feels more joyful, okay, and what feels more free, what feels like it's coming from love, and whatever action that is, that's going to help the collective and ourselves move faster and more playfully, more joyfully into the new 5D reality. Right, so this is the message for this week. Just if you, at the end of this video, I'm going to share a painting that I've been working on. But before I do that, I want to just kind of pull, I'm getting inspired to pull a Michael card. I think we've got just sort of that divine protective presence. It'd be kind of nice to bring in. While I do this, I do want to thank those of you who have been working with me. I'm working on a couple of commission pieces that I'm really excited about. One is, I'm hoping that these people will let me share. If not, that's fine. But one has a beautiful tree of life kind of imagery, and then the other is an angel, personal angel painting, which I'm super excited to work on. And this card keeps coming up. It's romance angels are helping you. It has been coming up a lot. So let's think in terms of that love, right? Again, romance is love. When we think of it in terms of romantic love between masculine and feminine, that's part of what's happening on the collective plane on the planet right now, is a greater harmonization between masculine and feminine. Okay, so part of that is tolerance and really appreciation of both the masculine and feminine qualities, because when they start to really appreciate each other and appreciate the differences, then that's when they start to really work in harmony. So if you have a significant other in your life and that you have that, show some appreciation this week. And if not, if it's just within yourself, show appreciation all around, just like a really appreciation for yourself and the masculine part of yourself, the feminine part of yourself. If you're feeling like you need more romance, or if you're missing that, especially a lot of women right now, because I think the collective feminine has sort of been first to awaken here on the planet. I'm seeing more and more and more masculine people who are embodying the masculine energy more start to awaken. So the masculine collective is awakening. I think it's going to start to awaken big time this year. I'd say a strong encouragement is, I just want to express appreciation for the masculine, divine masculine, as he shows up and as he starts to be embodied. Anybody, any of you men or people who feel very strongly embodying the masculine energy, so much appreciation to you, so much gratitude, because that energy really helps those of us who are embodying the divine feminine. When that masculine energy starts to step up, it really allows us to breathe a sigh of relief and to really dig deeper and step deeper into our own work, right? So if you think of a couple dancing, like waltzing, right? And when they're dancing beautifully together, they're both giving weight and they're both able to dance and move across the floor in a way that is very joyful, very free, and just something that neither of them can do on their own. So, so yeah. All right, so this is the painting I just kind of wanted to share with you. It is like a bee, angel of bees. And if you've been following me, you're probably aware I'm working on a bee oracle deck, honeybee. And this was based on a sketch that came through. I think I told you about this before, but she's progressing. I can't remember if I've shown you this before or not. But this is how she's progressed. She's got this beautiful mudra that she showed up with. And when I looked up the mudra, because when she showed up I wasn't sure, it's the prana mudra, and that is this life force kind of thing. So, and again, all this yellow is coming forward. Solar plexus, right? So just one more message that I'm being asked to relay to you is, as you're going through life this week, have that discernment. Again, is it light? Is it bringing you in this feeling of joy and ease, or is it not? Is it detracting from your energy? And that discernment, just know that your higher self is tuned in. You are tuned in, to the source, right? And no matter who it's coming from, whatever guidance it's, of course we want to listen to guidances, and we all have mentors, myself included, all of us. We have people we listen to, and it's good. We want to share that information and so forth, but it's up to each and every one of us as sovereign beings to always weigh whatever information is coming through to you and do that inner check, right? Does this feel good? Does it feel light to me? Or does it feel, is it kind of making me feel like, ooh, right? And that goes for the news. It goes for anything coming from any kind of authority. And this can be local authorities, spiritual authorities, and I'm including myself. So I want to encourage you, anytime you hear me, anything coming out of my mouth, you're the final one. You are the one that's really has the final say into, does what she or he or whatever is saying ring true? And so I'm encouraging you to, whatever information you're tuning into, wherever it's coming from, tune into, how does this feel for me? Does it feel light and expansive, or does it not? And I'm going to encourage you to just, rather than putting a lot of judgment on this, right? Because every single person is human, right? Authorities included. And even ones that we trust, that we know are generally giving good information, they can have a bad day, or they can be relaying information that maybe isn't really for you. And it could be information that is helpful to somebody else, but you're not there right now. Or you may not be interpreting it the way that maybe they intended. So that's why it's so important to just be our own guru, right? Be your own guru this week especially, but always, in terms of whatever is going on in your life, right? So have a wonderful week. Thank you so much, and we'll catch you again soon.